Hey guys. So I actually reached out to Denise after me and Tamika had a conversation about me, like I didn't run Amber's call on November 2nd after I'd already reached out to Denise. What she didn't know is it was sitting in a messenger request since October because I had actually messaged her business Facebook instead of her personal. And Tamika goes, well, you can do the call for us. And so that's how this call got started. And the reason behind this is something that you guys probably have absolutely no idea is I bought the Dream Life Journal for me and Chelsea back in January of 2018 because I thought it would be something really fun for me and her to do. We were both in a really big funk in our life. Something that a lot of you probably have absolutely no idea is my boys hadn't talked to me in almost 2 years at that point. Had not had anything to do with me. They lived with their dad and hadn't said 2 words to me in almost 2 years at that point. And I started working through this journal with Chelsea in January. And it wasn't just for business. I needed something for my personal life because I knew at that point in my life that if I didn't fix my personal life that was an absolute shambles, then my business would never grow. I could write that I wanted to be diamond all day long, but until I fixed what I thought was wrong with me, then I would never grow. And we kept hearing about the Dream Life Journal and Denise and all of the things that she was doing. And I was like, I'll get it and I'll try. And so if you look at this, half of it is filled out because I was so angry and so bitter with God at that point. I had no relationship because I didn't think that there was any way that he could put me through the things that I went through and care. And so I did parts of it. I did the affirmations, but I only did parts of it for the first 2 weeks. And then I started to work through the rest of it. And that's when my son knocked on my door. All of a sudden, my son just knocked on my door out of the middle of nowhere. And things that I was writing down and things that I was asking for help with finally started coming about. And I worked all the way through this whole thing. And I look back because this is the very first one. I did it twice. I look back at the things in this before this call. I thought, I want to be a friend that somebody wants to be friends with. I spent all day with one of my best friends today. I have so many friends now that it's incredible that I'm the mom that my kids want to be. Like the things that I write in this, that I wrote in this journal have all come about. And so I picked up this journal again last January when I started my mindset call. Actually, we threw around the idea in January and then we worked through it in February of last year. And that was one of my really, really dark spots, as most of you know, right after my surgery when I decided to pick this business up again for a second time and to really own my life again. And we started the mindset call and me and a bunch of girls worked through it together because why not do it together? Because working through pain on your own is one thing, but growth in a group is phenomenal. And I watched not just my stuff manifest and my things grow, but I watched other girls. Like I watched one girl manifest an apartment. Like she wrote it and it came true on the days that she wrote about it. And it should have never happened, but it did. Like I watched so many things on that mindset call come about because we wrote about it and we worked through this for 30 whole days. And so to be able to have Denise share with us tonight how she got started in this book and her story and see all of the things and to hear it all and to be able to share it with you is something that I have been so excited to share. And you can ask my team. I told them they didn't have a choice. They better get on or I was going to come hunt them down. And so with that, Denise, if you would like to unmute and kind of share your story and how all of that got started, we would love to hear it.
Oh my gosh, like that's all we need to hear. Your story was powerful and amazing. I definitely want to hear more afterwards. Thank you for inviting me to connect with you guys and then also just allowing me to hear the fruit of your effort and your work. So a bit about my story. Okay, so I have been a part of the It Works journey for almost 14 years. I'm letting that sink in. Yep, that's a long time. I was 26 years old when I got started in this business, and I I was a clinical psychologist. So I got my master's in clinical psychology because I truly wanted to work and help with people and help people. I think I felt that initial spark when I was a camp counselor. So throughout my college years, I went to Asheville, North Carolina for a few summers. I went to New York for a few summers and worked with inner city foster kids. And I felt the spark of helping people know how awesome they are, you know, because I'm working with these foster kids who felt burnt down, like beat up, and their walls were high and they didn't feel like they were worth anything. I mean, they had their head down, and I felt them grow and blossom throughout the summer as they had a space where they felt love and they felt accepted, and it was a really beautiful thing. And so needless to say, I got my master's in clinical psychology because I was off to change the world. That was like I had these big dreams. And then I got my first job. Any helping professions out there? Daycare workers, nurses, teachers. Yeah. I got my first job at a local community mental health. And so I was working in a really, tough situations, a lot of generational things. And I felt like I was working with people that didn't really want help in a situation that couldn't really help them. And that big passion that I had to really kind of turn people on and help them be awesome started to shrink, right? I started to be like, well, I guess that was unrealistic for me to think that I could really impact people this way, or, you just, that big dream just really started to just, I guess I would say this is adulting, like, there goes my dreams. I'll just live for the paycheck. And I started to feel like a zombie, really. And I was living for the weekends. I, not really engaged with what I was doing. I would take mental health days for my own mental health. Like, it was overwhelming and it was stressful. And I didn't really know what to do because for the past 20 some years, I had been told what to do. And I was finally an adult and nobody was telling me what to do next. And so I felt really stuck. And I think a lot of people go through what I call the quarter life crisis, where you have these big dreams and you're like, finally, I'm graduated. Yes. And then you're like, what? That's what this is all about. And so I was searching. I was looking for my next thing. And I think a lot of people get into this business because they're hit a rock bottom in that way too. Like, I don't want to be here for the next 30 years, right? That's not what I want to do. I know plenty of people who stay in a place that they don't like for a decade, right? Because we don't know what else to do. At least here we know the paperwork. And so for 5 years, I was searching, I was seeking, I was going on job interviews. I started to see clients at my church and just, try to figure this out. And that is when I met Cami Pentecost, Mark Pentecost at our small group at church. Carla Burns is in our small group as well. And I tried a wrap. The wrap worked, and we signed up to become distributors 2 weeks later. Now, Brandon, my husband, was an aerospace engineer, which sounds cool, but he was working in cubicle world with grumpy old men. So we were both hungry for something different, and we were ready for a shift in our life. And what I didn't know then that I know now is that I could help more people in this business than I ever could at my clinical psychology job. So when we got started, right, I'm not a salesperson. I didn't go to school for business. I don't know finances. Like, I just like people. And so when we got started, I had a lot of questions. Could I really be good at this? I'm not sure. This is scary. I don't understand. And I didn't know for quite a while if this would really be a home for me. It took us a year to go diamond, 2 years to go double, 3 years to go triple, 4 years to go presidential, 5 years to go ambassador, and 8 years to go black diamond. Now, black diamond is when you earn 100 grand a month for 6 consecutive months with your top spot alone. And that's a goal we worked hard for 3 years to really create after we had gone ambassador. And I can share more about that story if you like down the line. Yeah, that's a good one. But what I learned throughout, and I'll share just one couple aha moments of the beginning parts of my journey, and then I'll let you ask some questions if you have them. And then I do have a little training I can go through if you want. But there's a couple aha moments I had that helped me to really own what I was doing. And I think that this is kind of the aha moment that a lot of new distributors and eventually have themselves. And it was when I realized that I could do this, like me. You know, I think a lot of times you hear Cami or, you know, Tamika or Mandy or someone else, and you're like, oh, good for you. Good for you. You hit ambassador, you hit presidential, you hit triple, good for you. But I don't know if I can do this. And so my mentor was Cami. She's a freaking rock star, right? That's a lot to live up to. And so there was a lot of time in my beginning journey where I was like, good for you, Cami, but I don't dance on tables and I don't own the room when I get in there. And I'm not like crazy, like, you know, can I really do this? And what I realized is that I was already good at being a good friend. That's what got me into the psych world to begin with. I like good conversations. I like to ask people questions. I like to get to know them, right? And when I realized that all this business was me being a good friend and helping people get what they want, I realized that I was made for this, right? Like I could do this with the strengths and skills I already had. And that was a huge aha moment for me throughout the years. So needless to say, 8 years in, this was 5 years ago now, we hit Black Diamond. And I very quickly said, what's next? Like, come on, we are goal getters here. And that is when I started to create some of my dream life materials because people were asking me, how do you do it? Tell me what to do. If I were a fly on the wall, what do you do? Give me all the scripts. Tell me your action plans. And what I realized is that it wasn't the script that created success for me. It was the be before you do that makes all the difference in the world. And it's the belief that you have when you send the script that will change the outcome for you. And so Design Your Dream Life is the first book, and that truly teaches the dream life pathway, which is head, heart, feet. So head is all about clarity. This is mindset. This is you become what you think about. This is retraining your brain. The heart is all about life purpose and passion, right? We want to know what we want and we want to believe that we can get there. We want to grow our belief to match our goal. And then action, feet. It's all about doing something every day, and when you are in that alignment, your head, heart, and feet, you know what you want, you fully believe that you can get there, and you're taking daily action, the world is your oyster and you've already won. But like Mandy said, here's the kicker, you guys. There can be things that are not related to your business that are impacting your business. Right? Because one of my favorite things to do is to help people cast a personal vision for themselves. It's when you see yourself 3 steps ahead of where you are now and you're excited about it, right? You get out of bed in the morning, you can't wait to go conquer it. You're excited to go through your day because you know where you're going. But you can't emotionally connect 3 steps ahead if you're emotionally stuck 3 steps behind. And so a lot of what we do in the book is we work through and heal some of those tethers that are emotionally holding us back. And you might not think it's related at all, but it always is. And so when you heal through, I mean, this is psychology in me, right? Like I'm like, let's go. Like we're gonna heal. We're gonna become whole. And because of those released tethers, you are going to be able to catapult forward. So the book takes you through the dream life pathway, and then the 2 journals, the blue and yellow one, are geared towards doing it every day. Like once you know what you want, then you have to do something every day and the consistency to get there. So that takes you through that process. And then the other one on this side is actually a teen journal, because I was doing this work with my team and others, and they said, can my daughter come? And I was like, sure. And I did an event last year in January, and I didn't know this, but she brought her senior daughter and we did the workshop. To me, it was similar to like a mini dream space, and they just were in tears. They had such a powerful experience together, and it really, when you hear it several times, you just always have to say yes and then figure it out. And so there's a teen version that really focuses on emotional strength and confidence. And that kind of thing. So anyway, that's my story in a nutshell. And I'll let you ask some questions and I can get into the Black Diamond story, or I can take you through an exercise or whatever you want next.
Oh my goodness, I love it. And I'm going to need a copy of that teen one for sure. I didn't even know that existed. And I didn't actually know there were 3 books. I only knew of the Dream Life journals, like the 2. I didn't know the Design Your Dream Life. So I learned something new.
Yes.
And so if you wanted to touch on the consistency, and then I do want to hear your journey to Black Diamond, because I've never heard it.
Okay. Oh yeah, consistency is key. So people often ask me like, how do you do it? You know, and I realized over time that I don't work my business based on how I feel. I work my business based on what I want. And when you know what you want, right, and you're excited about it, that doesn't always mean you're going to want to in the moment. It's always easier to watch Netflix. It's always easier to just like veg out. It's always easier to stay where you are rather than expand and grow. And so one of the things that really kept me in the game, even if I'm feeling tired or if I'm, got other life stuff happening, because we all do, is putting stuff on my calendar. If I have a call like this, I will not miss it. Right. So if I have 3-way calls with distributors, or if I've got team parties, or if I've got stuff on my calendar, then I will make it happen. And I think that's where Power Hours came, actually, because when we were going Black Diamond, I was like, we do not need more training. We just need to work and chart. We need to follow up and chart. That is what we need to do. And we started Power Hours. And the accountability of that means you put it in your calendar and then you show up because people are counting on you. And I find if you ever feel stuck, one reason why we aren't consistent is because we're self-sabotaging a bit, where we say, see, I told you it wouldn't work. And so if you're feeling stuck in that way, there's something out of alignment, meaning you don't really know what you want. Like, you're saying it, but you're not clear. Or you don't really believe that you can get there. I mean, how many times have you put something on your dream board year after year after year, and then you go, yeah, right, see if that happens. Yeah, if you're saying yeah, right to your goal, then you need to do one of 2 things. You need to change your goal or raise your belief. If you are living in a trailer park and you put a mansion on your dream board, start with something you really believe is a possible next step for you. And that's okay. That's okay. You want your goals to emotionally connect with you. So if it seems too far away and you don't quite believe it, then change your goal to be something you really do connect with. Maybe it's steps to success every month. Maybe it's, 2 customers a week. Maybe it's 1 customer a day. Whatever it is that you really feel like you can do, then the rest will fall into place. Now, when we were going Black Diamond, I didn't have another goal. I couldn't change my goal to match my belief. I had to grow my belief to match my goal. And that's part of the Black Diamond story. Anything else before I go into that? Okay. So the Black Diamond story, I did start a podcast as well, again, because I'm like, I can't just and people are messaging me, tell me what to do. I'm like, I can't just go do this. This is a decade of effort and beyond, right? With all the other things. And so the podcast is called Dreamcast, and I have the story at the beginning of the Dreamcast as well. So if you want to hear it again, you can go there. But the story basically is it took us 3 years to go Black Diamond. And honestly, I thought we had it in the bag. Back in 2013 is when they first announced Black Diamond. And I thought it was going to be, quote, easy. Isn't that funny? And so we were working hard. I would say I wanted Black Diamond. We even had a few months of where my top spot was over $100,000 in that month. I think we had 4 months in. And I remember thinking things like, wouldn't that be so funny if we missed it by just a few $1,000s? Wouldn't that be so funny? I was thinking these things, and instead of taking them captive or retraining my brain or focusing on what I wanted, because I hadn't quite learned all of that yet, I allowed it, right? I allowed those thoughts. Wouldn't it be so funny? That would be hilarious. Oh my gosh, if we lost it just by a couple $1,000s. And I was saying that to myself all month long. Well, Pam gave me a call the month right after month 5, and she said, Denise, you didn't make month 5. I missed it by just a few $1,000s. I mean, you don't cry over a $98,000 check, but you cry because you missed the goal you've freaking been working hard for, right? And so I said, Pam, I have been thinking about $98,000 for like all month. And she said, Denise, you did it to yourself. And then I got mad. How many of you guys have worked for a goal and then you missed it? Yeah, anyone? Me too. Or I was like, this is what a new distributor feels like when nobody shows up to their party. You're like, go for it. And then it didn't happen. And so in 2014, I said, well, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. And I had this disconnection. I want Black Diamond, but my heart said, yeah, right. Yeah, right. We'll see. Mm-hmm. And so I'm saying all the right things, you guys. I'm doing the action. The action didn't change. But throughout 2014, my belief did. And so when it didn't happen that year, I said, see, I told you. And then in 2015, I said to myself, all right, dude, like if you want something different, you have to do something different. And I'm not going to clearly skate into this promotion. So I have to do something different. And so a couple things we did differently this year that I think looking back now changed the game for our team. We planned every August, well, normal August, we do a event here in Grand Rapids. It is the Willow Creek Leadership Summit. And so it's nice because honestly, they're doing all the training and we just get to come and participate. And then we do team events afterwards at my house and we go rock climbing or other things that are around here, right? We go limo to the beach and whatever. So we do a ton of fun stuff around it. And this year, I decided that we were going to do a Come As You Will Be party surrounding this leadership event. And this Come As You Will Be party is where you pretend it's 5 or 10 years from now and you come dressed as that character. So in order to prepare for this event, I did Zooms just like this with my team. And I said, all right, what are 30 things you want to be, do, and have? Let's get into it. Let's talk about it. I said, what is your dream day? What does that really look like for you? Where do you want to be in 5 years in all of these areas of life? And we would do this work together. And then we all like picked pieces of it and dressed up as that character and showed up to this event. I had binoculars created that said, where there's no vision, the people perish. We had questions at every table where the conversation would be like, so what have you been up to over the last 5 years? How have things been? People came with their dream houses on their phone and they'd say, we just moved in. Oh my gosh. I had people come with like babies on their hips. And the hilarious thing now is one girl has adopted 5 since that event. And one girl has adopted 2 since that event. I came saying I had just come back from my TED Talk that went viral. I was triple Black Diamond, right? Because my spot, Brandon's spot, and 2.0 all were making $100,000 a month. What else? I had written a book, Design Your Dream Life. I brought that to the event, and just crazy stuff. Like we just were dreaming, and we were giving ourselves space to dream and space to ask ourselves questions. Brandon wore a shirt that said just chillin'. And I was like, we should have discussed our goals. Oh, you know how that goes. But it was so fun. So we were at this event. The cool part about this, and this is where it's serendipitous, and you're like, you can't make this stuff up. We were at this event. And I remember the whole month before preparing for this event, I had started thinking things like 78. I'm sorry, 78. I was like, just all these random numbers kept popping up in my mind. But because I had done this work and because I had listened to The Strangest Secret from Earl Nightingale every single stinking day, I would take that thought captive and I would go 103, 103, 103, 103, 103, 103, 103. So the fear was not gone. It was still there, but instead of allowing it to enter my world, I would just say 103, 103, 103, 103. So we're at this event and Mark texts me and he says, Denise, you guys made month 5. And so the cool part about that was that we were at an event with all of our leaders. And I was able to take the microphone and say, oh my gosh, real life right now. We just hit month 5. And all of my leaders were there and they said, all right, well, you can't miss month 6. Like, are you kidding me? And so that month is when we did power hours from 8 to 10, Monday through Thursday, every day of the month, or Monday through Thursday, that whole entire month. We just went for it. We just went for it. And when I opened up my check a few days later, it was 1025. So then I decided that was very cutting it close. And so I ramped up. And that whole next month I went 113, 113, 113, 113, 113, 113, 113. And our month 6 check ended up being 131. And so when I look back on those years of doing the effort, generating leads, following up with leads, training my team, casting vision for my leaders, I was doing the effort. The thing that changed and shifted over those 3 years was my belief that it was possible. Where I was focusing my thoughts, my attention, my like the fear still there. It was still there. Guys, that's part of the game. Sometimes we have that fear and we go, maybe this means I shouldn't be here, or we feel a bit intimidated, or we wonder and we go, maybe that's a sign. And what I've come to learn is that it is not a sign. It is just part of the journey. It just means you're growing. And so instead of having that be like fear for me, I have turned it into excitement. And I've decided that it just means I'm doing something new. And so the belief in my situation truly had to grow. Now, one last story about the Black Diamond. And again, I think this is just so cool when you realize that you can have it all. So when you go Black Diamond, you get a weekend at the ranch and the island, and they fly you down in a private plane and you get a $5,000 shopping spree, or at least this is what they did 5 years ago. And so we were in the midst of experiencing this from corporate and hanging out with Pam and Mark and all of these fun things. And I remember feeling guilty. So I'm thinking to myself, people are probably throwing tomatoes at me through Facebook. Do I really deserve this? Am I, like all of that, just identity. Am I worthy? All of that stuff just flooded back up. And I told Brandon, and he goes, well, that's dumb. I said, well, thank you. I know. It was helpful. And I went for a run the next morning, and I decided to listen to The Strangest Secret just because I was starting to feel this guilt for some reason. So I'm listening to The Strangest Secret again, and I'm like, I don't want to feel this way. I want to be so excited and grateful to be here, right? And so I start thinking about, what do I really want to experience while I'm here? And really me being here just shows my team that they can do it too. And I'm paving the way for them and like all this kind of stuff. And I got back from my run and I'm stretching, and one of my distributors who had just promoted the night before texted me, and she said, Denise, I need you to know that if I make no more money with this company, my life is already forever changed. She said, my family, we've gone back to church. We're closer than ever. We've paid off debt. Like, we are better because of our time here. And it was at that exact moment, I thought, I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. I can impact people and help them get better and create community and all of this stuff, and go on a private jet to Florida and get a fancy meal and all these kind of things. And what was so cool is that this girl works 3rd shift, which means she typically sleeps in the morning. And she woke up out of her sleep to text me that right when I got back from my run. And I think, you guys, when you grow and you bust through your own personal glass ceiling, when you heal and you really own 100% of who you are, and you I always say your roots are deep and you're blossoming, not only will your life be changed, but you will domino effect and impact everybody else around you. And that's what I experienced throughout those years?
Oh my goodness. I love that. And that's parts that I have never heard of your story. And so thank you so much for sharing. In the chat, there is a lot of people asking for whatever exercise you had.
Okay.
And so if you don't mind sharing.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I had no idea how much we have in common or that you had any type of a psychology degree.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So you do too, I'm guessing?
I have a bachelor's in applied behavioral science.
Huh? And you can use a lot of that here. You know what I think is so funny though? Tony Robbins, I just listened to Tony Robbins last week. He did not get a degree from a school, and he's freaking amazing. So I think a lot of times we think, oh, I need X, Y, and Z. And no, we really just need to keep growing and learning ourselves, and then duplicating what we learn. Learn and teach, learn and teach, learn and teach, learn and teach. I think that's why at the beginning you're like, oh my gosh, I can sign up customers. Let me show you how. Oh my gosh, I can sign up distributors. Let me show you how. Oh my gosh, I can, and it grows and grows and grows. Then you become a comp plan expert. Then you become a colors personality expert. And then it's just kind of fun. So, all right. So I'm thinking which one I should do. Okay, I'm going to do the one that, never mind. I don't want to tell you what it does. It'll just be, okay. Can you allow me to share my screen? Okay, I am going to, hold on, almost. Oh, it says you're sharing. Are you sharing? You got it?
You're good now. I was just sharing my sound from before.
Oh, okay, got it. Cool. Okay, so I'm going to take you through this quick little spiel to kind of set it up, and then we will go through the exercise. So basically here is how I describe life today. Life today, where you are today. Here is where I was when I was working a clinical psychology job, feeling like a zombie, going through the motions and allowing my spark to die. Here is where we are when we're not really where we want to be, but we don't really know what to do next, and we often feel stuck, right? So what I'd like you to do is rate on a scale of 1 to 10. 10 is living your dream life, like this is where I want to be, and 1 is not so much. On a scale of 1 to 10, I want you to rate all these 7 areas of life. So friendship, family, finances, health, hobbies, business, and giving back. And again, 10 is like you're in alignment, you're feeling joyful, this is super connected to you, you love it. And then 1 is, I don't want to be here anymore. And then in the chat, if you could write your average, that would be helpful. And there's no right or wrong here, you guys. This truly just allows you to know your baseline so you can measure and make progress throughout the year. Jessica, 1, 4, 1, 4, 1, 5, 6, 1.8, 2, 2, 1. All right. And so thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing. What I find is when I do this exercise all around the world, most people rate themselves like an average of a 3 or 4. And what's interesting about this, if you think about your life at a 4 or a 1 or a 3 or whatever it is right now, is that oftentimes that is where our friends are. Our friends are at a 4. And when you think of the conversation in the lunchroom, if you think about conversations on the phone, if you think about conversations about your family, about your spouse, about your work, about what you're doing, most of the time, they're 4 conversations. right? Complaining, blaming, making excuses, being grouchy about where things are, but not really feeling like change is possible, because a 10 feels so far away and only for those lucky people. And so what happens when we're living a 4 life is that when we take a step outside of that, guess what happens? Our 4 friends go, where are you going? Why are you leaving me? Do you not like me anymore? Oh, come back, come back. Or what else happens? We start to experience what? Fear. We're scared. We're nervous. Life happens. All these things can derail us from our goal. And it's just, again, easier to shrink back to what we know. So what we need to do is we need to stir up here, and we need to decide that we don't want to be here anymore. We don't want to be here anymore, because guess what? We're all worthy of living a life we love. We all have the capacity, the ability to make money, to love our family, to have good relationships, to be healthy, all that kind of stuff. And so we first want to stir up here. We've got to decide that we don't want to be here anymore. The second part of this is your personal vision. So a vision of your future that produces passion. This is when you see yourself 3 steps ahead of where you are now, and you're super, like, stinking excited about it. Like, you can't wait to hit your goal, to achieve, to create, to whatever it is. And so let me ask you, what do you think is the hardest part about all of this? Is it here? Is it there? Or is it somewhere in the middle? The start, maybe. What else? Middle, there, middle, here. The hardest part is the journey, the middle, because here sometimes you're in a honeymoon phase, right? Have you ever set a New Year's resolution and then you're like 2 weeks, woo, and then donuts? Or, yeah, I'm on fire for my business, ignorance on fire, and then I get a no. And so it can be easy to get started, but it's hard to stay motivated or disciplined enough to get through the stuff. Yeah, I think you're right. Sometimes we have a hard time even knowing what we want, and this becomes normal, right? And so we don't even really know what's possible. That's one reason why getting to events is so powerful, because you're around big dreamers who are showing you that there is more available. Here we go. So the things that get in our way: fear, guilt, resentment, bitterness, imposter syndrome. I'm not going to go through all of this because this is not the exercise, but all of this, really, life derails us and gets us in the way, can get in the way. And this is when we have a choice to make. Do we stay focused on our goal? Do we plunge through the mud? Or do we retreat and go back here? So there is when your dream 10 life. Like, this is when you would rate everything a 10. You're thriving in all areas. That doesn't mean there's a finish line and then you're done, right? I mean, we clearly went black diamond and then we're like, woo, what's next? All right, let's keep going. We're consistently growing, but there is your next step that you're excited about. And so today, what I want to do is take you through a meditation that will help you connect with your life purpose to create a stronger vision of where you are now, and where you want to go. When you connect your business to your life purpose, game over. As soon as I knew that this is where I was supposed to be, and as soon as I realized that I could do it with the skill set I already had, nobody could tell me no. I mean, they could, but I didn't even hear it, because I was like, next. There are people out there praying for this. Who's ready? Who's ready? Who's ready? Is it you? Is it you? Is it you? Is it you? And if people said, no, I'm not ready, I would say, okay, who's next? Like, I was on a mission. You know what I mean? And at that point, your belief is so high because you know that you know that you know that you know that it's just a matter of time. So, yay. Okay. Tamika, I know you've done this before. This is so fun. All right. So what I want you to do is I want for you to put your feet on the ground if you can. Relax your shoulders. And I'm going to put on some music. And I'm going to walk you through a fairly quick meditation, and then oh, here we go. All right. All right, so what I'd like for you to do is close your eyes and take about 4 or 5 deep breaths, inhaling through your nose, exhaling out your mouth. Inhaling through your nose, exhale out your mouth. Let's do about 4 or 5 of those on your own, just inhaling for the count of 4 and then exhaling out of your mouth. Now just allow yourself to become aware of the sensation in your back against the back of the chair, your sensation of your hips and thighs on the seat of your chair, your feet on the floor. Become aware of the rise and fall of your chest and stomach as you let your breathing find its own natural rhythm. And now imagine that you're finding yourself standing in the middle of a very beautiful meadow. A field full of grass and beautiful wildflowers on a warm, sunny day somewhere in the countryside. As you look around, you see a little breeze moving the top of the grass as it flows across the field. You can see wildflowers of many colors, and as you look up into the sky, you see that it's mostly blue with a few white puffy clouds. The sun is shining, it's warm, but not too hot. And as you feel the warmth of the sun on your skin, you can hear birds singing in the distance, and you realize this is a very safe place. As you look out into the field in the distance, you can see a deer grazing, unconcerned, knowing that it too is safe. Off in the distance, you see a very tall, majestic mountain, and since you feel drawn to this mountain, you begin to slowly walk toward it. As you're walking toward the mountain, you notice some of the sights you see. Perhaps there are other fields, homes, or animals. Just imagine what might be there. Perhaps you cross a stream and you hear the bubble of the water over the rocks. Eventually you arrive at the foot of the mountain. You stop and you look down and you notice what you're standing on. Maybe it's rocks or grass, leaves, dirt. Whatever it is, notice it. And as you look up again, you hear the sound off to one side. As you notice, a magic carpet gently drifting down towards you until it lands right in front of you. You feel drawn to sit on this carpet, and as you step onto it and sit down, this carpet very gently begins to lift up and slowly fly up the side of the mountain. As it gets higher and higher, you can feel the air growing a little cooler, and you notice that you can see further and further. The higher you go, the wider your perspective. Eventually, as you approach the top of the mountain, you see there's a very beautiful and majestic temple. It is a beautiful spiritual building at the top of the mountain, and this magic carpet very slowly begins to land right in front of the doorway that leads into this temple. As you get up and begin to walk into the temple, you realize this is a very sacred space. So as a way of honoring that, you reach down and take off your shoes. As you continue to enter into the temple, you notice how quiet it is, how peaceful, how sacred, how silent. As you enter further into the temple, you see that at the far end, there's a beam of light coming through a skylight. You can almost see little particles of dust dancing in the light. And as you find yourself drawn to this column of light, you will eventually find yourself standing in front of it. So you look up into the column of light, you begin to see floating down through the light a very wise and loving being. Floating gently down through this column of light until it lands right in front of you. And you notice something you hadn't seen before. This being of light, this wonderful, wise being is carrying a beautiful golden box. And the wise being says, I have brought you a gift. And this gift will help you realize and understand your life's purpose. It's a symbol that represents your life purpose for you. This being reaches out and hands you the box. And as you take it, you feel the weight, the temperature, the texture of it. With a lot of anticipation, excitement, and curiosity, you begin opening the box to see what's inside. When you see the gift, you lift it out of the box and you hold it in your hands. You might want to look at it from different angles, turn it around and feel it. This wise being reminds you this gift symbolizes your life's purpose or the next step in the unfolding of that purpose as you are able to understand it now. The wise being says, if you have any questions about this purpose, the meaning of this symbol or anything at all related to it, you can ask me and I will answer. And this wise and loving being says, it's time for you to go. Take your gift with you and return to the bottom of the mountain. But before you go, this wise being offers you a warm embrace, a nurturing hug. As you receive the embrace, you can feel the love and power of this being flooded into you, filling your heart, your mind, and your body with love, joy, strength, and the power to fully live your life purpose. Then the wise being steps back and says, anytime you want me, I'll be here. Just come to the top of the mountain and enter into the temple. I will always be here to answer any questions you might have about anything at all. So knowing you can always return, you watch as this wise being begins to slowly float back up through the column of light until you find yourself standing alone once again in the temple. And now you realize it's time to take your gift, the symbol of your life purpose, and all the awareness of what it means back with you. So you begin to leave the temple, and as you do, you stop and put on your shoes. You find the magic carpet, you step onto it and sit down. It begins to slowly and gently lift off and begin its journey back down the mountain. As you descend further and further down the mountain, you notice that as the ground comes closer, you can't quite see as far as you could at the top of the mountain. The air gets a little warmer, and you eventually find yourself landing back where you started. As you step off the carpet, carrying the gift with you, you look down and once again notice what you're standing on. And now you can become aware your back against the chair, your feet on the floor, and the rise and fall of your chest. And you can take a big deep breath and slowly open your eyes when you're ready. Amen. So I'm going to give you a few minutes to write down and draw and remember what you visualized, what you imagined when you were given the gift of your life purpose. I want you to capture that moment. So I'll give you a few minutes and then I want to hear what you saw. All right, so does anybody want to share what they saw in the box? You can take a few minutes to unmute, or you can put it in the chat. White flowers. Oh, I knew your gift was an apple. Ooh, that's beautiful. So Charlotte, what did you experience when you asked what the apple meant? Teacher. Aw. And I'm assuming you are a teacher. Purple flowers, hummingbird, you're not. Aw, that's even cooler. Cool, very cool. A bright and warm rock. I love that. Blue flowers and a baby. Aw, I love how everybody's different. Ruby stone. I love it. Awesome. If you need more time, you can certainly spend time journaling after this just to get it out of your heart and out of your system. Capture that moment. And if you didn't see much, that's totally okay. Building the strength of your imagination takes some time and it takes some practice. And so I do have this meditation on the Dreamcast as well. I think it's like 96 or something like that. So you can look at that and listen to it and do it again, and just practice. The power of seeing in your mind's eye is truly a cool skill to learn, because it unlocks your reticular activating system, which is part of your brain's filter, meaning your brain is going to start seeing things around you that you're thinking about. And then your subconscious does not know the difference between a real or an imagined event. So the more that we can imagine what it is we really want, we can get clear on that. It unlocks a lot of things in our life. So, Kelly, safety. Ooh, I love it. Amen. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. When you find that you are more deeply connected to your life purpose, and then you connect that life purpose with your experience within this business, whether you can fulfill that within your team or you fulfill it with the freedom this business gives you, it's like nobody can knock you off course, because you know where you're going and you're excited to get there.
I absolutely love that. And thank you so much for all of your time and everything that you shared tonight.
So thank you for inviting me.
Before you hop off, Denise, I wanted to see if anybody else wanted to share, but I have to tell you guys about my experience with this. How many years ago was that first Dream Life event? Was it 2 years ago?
Yeah, I think it was. Can you believe it?
So 2 years ago, I got to go to Grand Rapids, Michigan with Amber and another gal. And we drove there and we attended Denise's first, what did you call it? Dream Space.
We're giving the space to dream. Yeah.
And so we did this exact activity, you guys. And I was not a dreamer. I was not good at imagination. When that deer popped up, I was like, where's my bow? Like I was ready to go hunting. Okay. And I had a really hard time focusing, and it was just weird for me. And I remember when I got to the top of the mountain and I opened my box, there was a key in there, a key that looks like this. And it's a horrible drawing, but for some of you guys, it may look a little bit familiar. And I was like, well, that's kind of silly. Like the key's supposed to be on the outside of the box to unlock the box. And there was a key inside. And I remember taking this key 2 years ago, not knowing anything about it. And what was interesting, you guys, and you guys who've been in for a little while, have seen this evolution of my Get Fit program. And my Get Fit program logo is this key, and it says unlock the positive change in your life. And so when I got to the top of the mountain today, it was empty. The box was empty. And I pulled this key out of my pocket. And I said, am I still on the right track? And he said, yes. I had no idea that 2 years ago, that key had any significance. And now look what I've been able to create. So thank you first for that. Like, who would have known that was going to happen from this call? But second, you guys, like, I look at this, and I've been on multiple Ambassador Diamonds calls. And I mean, we're a triple diamond team, and we've got 50 people on this call. You guys, we are an Ambassador Diamond team. And until you take hold of who you're meant to be and embrace that, and the quote that I'm taking away from today is, when you connect your vision with your life purpose, nothing can stop you. And that's exactly what Denise has done. You know, she went to school, she had that drive to help people. And those of us who have had jobs that we thought were our dream jobs, it didn't help the people the way that we wanted to help them. And this business allows us to do that. And so when we step into our greatness and allow the fear to still be with us, and that's why I love your story so much, is because the fear is always there. But you just got to take the action, and you got to do the work in your head, in your heart, in your feet. You got to have that belief. And I promise that when you do that, you can have anything. And I know that sometimes we're like you said, crying over a $98,000 paycheck. I know for most of us, we're like, we can't even embrace that, but it's not about the money. It's about what you can do, and about the lives that you can change, and about like that you did it. Like, that's what it's about, is that you called it into your space, and you did it. And I'm just so grateful for every single one of you guys. I know being like on here for Thursday night for an hour when it's bedtime and all the things, like, but this is so special what we have here. So Denise, if you'll just leave us with, as a team, like we got the power hours. I feel like our cups are full and hopefully some lights have clicked on. But how can we really truly implement something tonight to go to align our head, our heart, our feet, and that consistency to take action, especially, you know, with December, with what's happening at the end of the month, going into November, or January. What advice would you have for us?
Yeah. Well, I've got two things. So because we are now in a virtual world that doesn't seem to end, I am doing another Dream Space type event, live workshop on Zoom in January. So it'll be 4 weeks, 2 hours each, so 8 hours of really alignment, doing exercises for gaining clarity. Because I think you said that too. Sometimes I don't even know what I want. Sometimes we get stuck because we're like, life is fine, or can I, so we got to get clear, and then building that belief and healing through some of the hard stuff, and then also the daily action plan. So I am doing a workshop. I'll put the link in the chat if anybody is interested in that. It's a 4-week workshop. You do get a Design Your Dream Life book sent to you and signed by me, as well as some other goodies and like freebies and bonuses and all that good stuff. So that is a really fun experience. I've done it with my team before, but I've never done it in this way. So I'm excited to offer it to anybody who's interested. And I think at the end of the day, your job is to get in alignment yourself. That's when you feel in flow, right? That's when you're like, you're here and you're in the moment and you're excited. And then you get to transfer that to other people. Most people are living here, where they don't like what they're doing. They're going through the motions. They're a zombie throughout. They don't like it, but they don't know what else to do because they don't have somebody saying, I have an option for you. And so as a leader, as an enroller, as a sponsor, you can stir up here and say, hey, you don't have to be here anymore. And you can cast hope for them that they can have a Dream 10 life too. And we know what we have our hands on. We know that the power of this compensation plan can help you make $500 in your first month. And you can make $5,000 within 6 months. You know what I mean? Like, you can do that. And so the confidence you have when you're casting that vision to your prospects is priceless. So do the work yourself and then transfer it to your prospects, and they'll be more apt to get going with you too, because they believe that you're taking them somewhere.
Yes.
And now's the time. Like, we all know that we boom. January through April is like a huge season. So all the seeds you plant now are going to come to fruition, and it's really powerful. So the people you sign up now are the ones that are going to be going diamond next year. Like, that's the power of this season, is those are the people that are going to be promoting, getting the bonuses and that kind of stuff. So market and prospect and follow up with your leads with that confidence.
Yes. Thank you. All right. I've got that link saved in our team page, you guys. I'm going to drop where I put the call for tonight. I'm going to put the Life to the Dream Life Journal, or the link to the Dream Life Journal, this workshop. And then is your group public? The Dream Casters group, is that public?
Yes. So
okay.
It's Start Living Your Dream Life is my free group.
Okay. Cause I think you just changed the name or something like that. Okay.
I did.
So
you are so on top of things.
I'm going to drop those things in the pack page for those of you who want to stay more connected, because you guys, like, this is seriously the work that you must do if you really want to have what you want to have. Like, you can keep sending more messages, you can keep getting more host posts up, you can keep doing all that stuff, and yes, you'll make money, but to ultimately unlock your true potential, you have got to do this hard work of breaking through this stuff. Okay. Mandy, thank you so much for setting this up. This is the perfect time and the perfect place for this. And so I really appreciate you doing this. And thank you, Denise, for your time tonight. And we're all excited to work with you more closely. So thanks for being so one team, one mission, and just offering your passion to be able to help more people. So we appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much. Have an awesome, awesome night.
Good night, guys. Bye.